Deb's Big Backyard is on the road again. I'm Deb, and I'm here at the Oak Park Conservatory because I've heard there's a lot of new and cool things happening here this summer. They have a new head guy too, Scott Stewart, and he's the reason for that. Let's go meet him. Hi Scott, it's Deb.
Hi Deb.
Nice to see you
again.
Yeah, so Scott, I know who you are, but not everybody else because you're the new guy in Oak Park. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely, Deb. Well, my name is Scott Stewart. I'm the manager of the Oak Park Conservatory. I'm the new manager. I've been here about 6 months at this point.
What landed you here, Scott?
Well, actually, my absolute love of plants. I wanted to be in a place where plants and people and education coexisted. And the Oak Park Conservatory, that's what we do. We bring people and plants together in an educational environment.
So I've lived in Oak Park for a long time and have come to the Oak Park Conservatory. I'm a huge, huge fan. But I still don't know everything there is to know about the Oak Park Conservatory. So I'm wondering, what are a few surprises that will surprise me?
One thing that you may not know is that we grow nearly 20,000 plants a year to put out into the parks and into the Park District facilities. We have a small staff that grows those plants from seed, but also a whole host of volunteers. We have over 200 volunteers that come through the conservatory that help us grow these plants. We grow everything from your everyday common petunias, everything to some things that are slightly more exotic and tropical feeling, things like elephant ears and voodoo lilies. And all of those plants they start off life here at the conservatory and they end up out in our parks for all of our community members to enjoy.
I was wondering if you could give me a little tour of unique little aspects.
Absolutely. Each room brings something really unique to visitors. Here in the Fern Room, we actually have a great example of this right up here.
Mm-hmm.
These two plants on either side of the pathway really are unique plants. These are both tree fern plants. They're actually native to Australia.
Wow.
And a lot of people know tree fern because it's actually used as a component in potting soils a lot of times. This is our tropical room. And as you can tell, this is a huge collection of tropical plants, but it's also a pretty unique room simply because we've got a mixture of plants and animals in this room. We have 3 talking parrots. We have Skipper, Sarah, and George. Yeah. We also have a koi pond with some very large koi and a few turtles in this. But the real stars of this room really are the plants.
So I've walked by this tree a lot and never knew exactly what it was. So tell me, Scott.
Well, you're not alone. A lot of people walk past this tree and assume it's just another tropical tree in the tropical room here at the conservatory. But this is a really special tree. This is actually the cacao tree or the chocolate tree.
What do you mean chocolate tree?
Exactly. That's what a lot of people assume, that chocolate does not come from a tree.
Yeah.
And but we actually use this tree to teach visitors to the conservatory where their food actually comes from. A lot of people don't realize that chocolate is a natural product, that it comes from a tree, comes from the seeds of that tree. Those seeds are dried and ground and mixed with other sugars and milks to create the chocolate that we all love.
Some people don't realize that succulents and cacti have these beautiful blooms.
They don't. A lot of people think of cacti as just these large, spiny green things that grow in the desert or in Mediterranean areas. But actually, if you come here to the conservatory this time of year, and even in the winter, you will see a lot of these cacti have beautiful flowers, wonderful colors. This is a really special tree here in the desert room. This is a prickly pear cactus. Mm-hmm. Now, most people may know the prickly pear as a simple, low-growing, very small plant that we actually have here in Illinois.
Wow.
But this is sort of the large version of it. This is one that's been growing in desert-like conditions here in our desert room for many decades. And as you can see, it's taken on basically a tree form, actually.
Yes. And will this fruit?
It is actually fruiting and flowering right now as we speak.
Is that right?
It is. Actually, if you notice these small green protrusions, they do eventually turn to red. Those are actually called the pears of the prickly pear cactus. And the flowers actually occur on the tops of those as oranges, yellows, and reds. Mm-hmm. And the great thing about this prickly pear cactus is that this plant is highly edible. So not only are the pears themselves edible,
right,
but the pads themselves, the cacti leaves or the pads themselves are edible.
Look at this here. I think this is probably an example of some of the plantings that we've talked about right here on the grounds here at the conservatory.
It absolutely is. This is a good example here on the east side of the conservatory of the types of plantings that you will see scattered throughout all of the different parks and park district facilities. That those 20,000 plants, this is where they end up. This actually is a really nice example of sort of a native herb type and spring flowering garden. Probably one of the more common flowers that you'll see both around town and here in the conservatory are these columbines. And these are very spectacular flowers, wonderful flowers for any type of native landscaping that you may have in your yard.
And then these purple, wonderful purple flowers, is that?
These are actually a type of native mint, if you would believe that.
That's what I thought.
They're a wonderful example of a very nice native mint.
It sounds like you're a fan of those bees and butterflies as well as I am.
I absolutely am. And creating locations for those pollinators, those way stations for those pollinators, so to say, very, very important. And the Park District can play a role in that.
Well, that's very exciting, and that's very a happy moment for me because I love that kind of stuff. I also love birthdays, and I think that there's an anniversary coming up for the conservatory.
There is. You absolutely are right. We were established in 1929, which makes 2014 our 85th year of operation. That's a pretty important milestone for the conservatory.
Well, I'm here now, and I'm coming back here again to see all this cool stuff in the summer and beyond. This is Deb's Big Backyard on the Road. I'm Deb.
And I'm Scott.
See you next time.